Banjack, and this is Look Who's Cooking. And today I thought we'd try something a little different. Uh, Most of us know about saute cooking, frying in the frying pan and all, but there's a lot of really easy tricks to make it easier. And a lot of different maybe little things that I can share with you so you can make it with whatever you have and you don't go out and get special equipment. Today I'm going to do the actual cooking in an electric frying pan. But let me show you. I forgot to put on my microphone. Okay. Did they hear me okay? Oh. Okay. Is that okay? Here's some of the one thing I want to remind you when you're cooking and sauteing, or what was once called and still is wok cooking. Wok cooking was very popular in the 70s and the 80s, and everybody ran out and got all the wok pans and all the wok oils and all that. And that's fine. And if you have them, use them. But if you don't be afraid to use what you have. Again, this is a square electric frying pan. And here we have just a small saute pan. You can see I use it a lot. It's very dirty. Not dirty, it's oily. And then here's another pan that's really great to saute in. And what's really is good about this is because of the metal handle and it's all one, you can put the whole thing right in the oven. You can cook it, and if you want to go on and put something in the oven, you can do that to finish it off. And then, of course, here is the traditional wok pan, which I'm not using today because I just purchased it a few days ago, and it needs to be seasoned, and that's usually you put oil in it and you cook it dry and you wipe it. The pan, the instructions is on the pan, how you have to season all the different pans there are. I like this one because, do you remember the woks way back when? They were sort of shaped like this, and they had little handles on each side, and they had to be put on a ring in order to balance them because the bottoms were perfectly round. Well, the best kind that I can advise getting, or if you have, is the flat bottom wok. Because you can put it down on anywhere. You can put it on the burner. You can put it, and with a handle, a regular handle, not a cute little side handles like the original woks used to have. And I had to get a new one because I use mine so much. They do get a little gruffy. No matter how well you clean them, you don't quite clean them right. So after a while, it builds up the food and all. But you can, again, let me see what this is. Okay. Again, you can saute in anything. And one of the reasons I just wanted to do this, again, being here at the high school, we sort of have limited access to different kinds of equipment. And stoves is one of the things that we don't have. We usually use the butane burners, but today I wanted to show you a different way. What I first do is I take some kind of very shortening. Even if it's the Teflon line, even if it's kind of no stick, please do this because it'll stick. No matter how well you're going to do it, it's going to stick. So what I do, I spray just a little, and to make sure it covers everything, I take some paper towels, and be careful because this pan's hot. So you have to be careful when you do this, but make sure you can do it with a brush. You can do it with a little sponge if you have one. But what this does, it just makes sure that it has a nice coating on it. Now we're up here. Now let's talk about oils. I personally do not like olive oil when I'm cooking, wok cooking or saute cooking. I think it's too strong. It's fine. I just don't care for it. What I use is regular vegetable oil. That's what's in this little bottle that I bring here. Or there's many kinds of oils you can get. There's stuff called wok oil, which has a little flavoring. Then there's a grapeseed oil, which the best thing about this, you can cook at very high heat because once in a while they sort of flash if you get them too hot, the oil. This one has cottonseed oil in it, I think, yeah. So they're all different. I like canola oil, saffron oil. The only thing, you can use olive oil if it's a really sturdy, hearty good dish, But if it's a lighter dish, use something other than the olive oil. The olive oil leaves a little taste that we're not quite sure of in my palate. So let's see, here's an oil, sesame oil, and I love sesame oil. But the thing is about sesame oil, it's not for cooking or frying, it's just for seasoning your dishes. So we're going to, why don't I just use the vegetable oil I have? It's not just a little, not quite hot enough, I can see. And make sure it coats definitely the whole bottom. Maybe I got a little too much in there. Oh well. I like to work around 375 to 400 in the heat when I'm doing this, and it's very, very quick. Some of the things that I want to talk to you about is another thing is the utensils that we use in this. I never use metal ones only because no matter what they say, it scratches, and I don't like the sound of it anyway when you're scraping. So there's a lot of wooden things. Anything that has some surface, like see the flat surfaces we have on here? And then there's, this is my favorite. They're from Japan, and a friend of mine went to Japan and returned and brought me back quite a few. Why I like it is it's a short handle compared to this long handle kind of thing. And the short handle, I'm able to grip better and to get down in the cooking. And then I'm really bad with chopsticks, really bad. And then I found these chopsticks on a hinge. And it really works. You can, they pick up everything and they work. I don't know why I'm so bad with chopsticks. I'm good mechanically, I'm okay, but chopsticks and I think I'm just impatient. I want to eat the food. I don't want to mess with it. And another thing, when you're eating with chopsticks, around here, we all eat very proper like this from the mouth. And when people eat with chopsticks, they actually eat very close to the bowl, and that's the reason I think they're successful. Okay, let's see what happened here. I have some strips of beef here. Oh, you hear that? I hope. The reason I'm shaking my hand is the reason why you shouldn't have too much oil. I have some pork here also, and why I wanted to show you the pork, see how flimsy this pork is? And it's hard to cut. You can cut it, but it's a little hard to cut. And what I always do, I freeze my pieces of pork that I want to use. And when I freeze them, after they're frozen, I take them out. When they're half thawed, I'm going to put that in there. I slice it. It's easier to slice when it's frozen. The same thing with the beef, too. I mean, it can't be rock solid, but so here we have it's cooking at high heat at a fast rate. That's basically what we're looking at here. Good. Smells good. Little messy. I always find frying and cooking, that's why I like to go make reservations. I don't have to worry about that part. I'm only kidding. Though I do like to make reservations, as most of my friends know. So, okay, now we need to put a sauce on this. And what I'm going to do This is a sauce I'm a favorite of mine. But you can do anything you want. You can put anything you want. That's the really beauty. If you have things left over. But the thing you need to remember too, that cooking things of a similar size. I mean, don't put in a whole carrot and little pieces of meat. It's not going to work. You need to slice them in similar weight sizes. Okay? And then also in the order that you can cook your meat and then take it out and put it in a dish. And then you can cook your peppers and take it out and put it in a dish till the end. Depends on how you want to do it. If you do it all in the pan, and you just make sure you put them in the order of the one that takes the longest to cook to the shortest to cook. Now, I'm going to put in some peppers. That's the next thing I have here that's the longest thing to cook. And if you use a nice, nice oil or something, you don't have to make a sauce. But I always enjoy a sauce with this kind of food. You could just stir fry it like this and serve it. Okay. Now what I want to do is make the sauce. And it's really easy, and it's the one I like, and it's a dark sauce. It's not a candied sauce. I put in some brown sugar, some cornstarch. Oh, here it is. Make sure. I like to put the dry in first and then the wet. Then we have vinegar. Vinegar is a nice taste with the sweet and the sour. I don't know. I don't like this whisk too much. Let me get a spoon. And I'm going to put some pineapple. We're going to put pineapple in this, and I'm going to put pineapple juice. I love these new cans. I just noticed them at the supermarket. You don't have to have a can opener, which I always breaking. Let's hope I can do it. Oops. And I'm going to drain this pineapple pieces so the juice goes right into the sauce. Okay. Put that aside for a minute. Calls for onions. Let me clean up here a little bit. The strange looking knife is actually one of those things they advertise on TV. It says they do everything, and they are wonderful. Mine was a gift from my friend Fred gave me that. Whoops. To get my trash bag here. I guess most of you notice I don't have a guest today. Well, I decided to go it alone. I thought, let me show them some of my favorite things to make and to do. And I like this cooking because it's quick. You can do a lot of things with it. So I'm going to slice the onion fairly thin. Oh, I guess I should mix that. You can really start smelling it, I think. I always like to sample as I go. I have a cousin, Jeannie. Jeannie tastes her dinner to nothing. She has this big pot of something, and she keeps tasting it and tasting it. And by the time it's time to serve dinner, there's almost nothing left, and she has to make something else. So she sort of tastes everything. I'm going to put some onions in there. This is almost like a pepper steak. I never thought to give it a name because the reason I'm making it was because it's what I had available or I could pick up in the store last night. Isn't it horrible when you really want to make something, you really want to do something, and then you can't find it at the store? You keep looking around and around and around, and it's not there, and you have to go to another store, and then you spend twice as much money. Because when you go for that one item in the other store, what happens is you spend more money on something you just have to have, you know? So, it's falling out of the frying pan, doesn't want to be there. Let me see, I want to taste. I don't put any, excuse me, I don't put any salt in this because when we put the soy sauce in, it'll be enough. Now I'm going to put in the pineapple. They have these nice little tidbits out now, which would be very nice. Or you can use your own fresh pineapple. Shouldn't have done that. Your own fresh pineapple, whatever you like, but don't make the pieces too big. See, that drained out, so I'm going to add that to the sauce. I want to tell you a funny story. Many years ago, I acted as hostess in a Chinese restaurant, and everyone was about 5 foot tall that owned the restaurant, the cooks and all. And there I was actually doing a friend a favor. I was replacing her over the holidays, and she had another job. Can we get a picture of this to see how nice it looks before we? I think it's good color. It's beautiful. It's brown and yellow and white and green. But anyway, my story. So I was hostess quite often. Actually, it was the Chinese restaurant underneath the P&W station in Norristown, downtown Norristown. And it's long gone now. But the first time I knew very little about Chinese or Chinese cooking, and I went into the kitchen, and there were these two chefs throwing knives at each other. I mean real knives, not little, real knives. And I found out later they were brothers, and they did care for each other. But that's how they showed their affection, by throwing knives, and it was really a hoot. It was an interesting experience. It's where I learned to eat Oriental or Chinese food, and I found out it wasn't terrible as I had been led to believe for many years. You know, when I was growing up, people weren't too fond of trying anything. Today, I think most people try a lot more than they did at one time. So then, I need the soy sauce in here. 2 or 3 teaspoons. You know me, I have so many recipes. Even my own recipes I have to check out because I don't make them every day. So I'm going to eyeball this. 1, 2, 3. And some for good luck, I guess. And it makes a nice caramel brown coloring. Now I'm going to pour it over. Let me just check this stuff again. Of course, the pineapple are done. Oh, the peppers and the onions are nice. Let me check. Whoops. I'm not doing too well today. I'm going to take this and pour it over. If you like a lot of sauce, you can double up the recipe, and then you'll have a lot more. My mother always, I want more sauce, I want more sauce. So she always likes to make this when she does. She adds twice as, doubles up on the brown sugar and the pineapple and the, You don't really have to double up too much on the cornstarch. I want to tell you the cornstarch will not start working until it comes up to reaches a boil. Let it reach a boil, then put it down and let it simmer for a while. Oh, let me see. Oh, this is working out real nice. This was variations of this. Was the first Oriental or Chinese food that I ever made. And I made it for a dinner party. And I never made it before. And I was told I had guts. But it worked out beautifully. Chinese eating is more home style from one pot, one area, with some of the others like Japanese is individual steak type things and individual servings and things, where the Chinese are big into home style. Oh, this is really working up nice. I'm really pleased with that. So let me see what I have here. What we have to do yet is plate this up, as they call it. To me, the most important thing in eating is the aesthetics, and I love this plate. And it looks like bamboo, and I have no idea it was real cheap. I look at sales all the time, and I find sales. Let me show you here for dishes and stuff, and that's how you can afford them. And they don't all have to match. I consider this a serving plate, or it could be a one-person's meal plate if they liked a lot of food. So what I'm going to do is fill this with, I use white rice, and let me tell you, you can use brown rice, that's very healthy, but the flavored rices, like, the yellow Spanish rice and things like that, it's fine, but it takes away from the flavor of the dish. Use that as part of a dish, like when they make paella and things like that. But when you use the yellow or the highly spiced rices, it's just not quite the same. And this is plain old white gummy rice. Spread it out there. I know a lot of people look down on minute rice, but I don't dislike minute rice. It's really, when you want it fast and easy, and it's not as gummy. You know that gummy stuff? When you make real rice, cook it for 20 minutes, let it soak in the water and do all that. Let me just see how this is. This is good. Really good. And one great thing about when you use electric frying pans and electric cooking things is the fact that you most of the time can put them down to simmer or lower, where, of course, if it's on the stove, you can do that too, but you have to be careful. I have one of them simmer plates. On top of the stove, you put this black metal plate. It's very, very heavy, and that does help keep things at a simmer instead of cooking away. And I use it a lot when I want to cook for a long time, because no matter how careful you are, it's hard to control your pot directly on the heat. And it's a round black thing. You can see them. I think they're in all the gadget books and all the gadget places, and they're really worth looking into. They're a little pricey, I thought, for a piece of black iron, but I happen to be very fortunate. And I was at some kind of flea market and saw new ones, a whole bunch of them, and they were only $1 each. And I always not happy that I didn't buy all 22 of them, I think, because I could have given them as gifts. They're really wonderful. Okay, here we have, here we have the rice arranged appropriately. As I said, you can do any kind of dish. You can do an oval or whatever. And here we have, I don't care for metal, but I'm going to use this. hear that sound? It's something like chalk on a blackboard. I hope everybody's hungry today. The crew usually eats. And sometimes we even have guests from all over the school. I'm going to call that quits for now. I'll clean that up later. Remember to clean up your plate. We have it here. I'll sample the pepper. Really good. So, again, this is sweet and sour, whatever. You can use pork, you can use chicken, you can use shrimp, scallops, any combination of beef, pork, shrimp, scallops, or whatever. It's really nice. It's a nice dish for company, and it is a nice dish for your family. And we think it's pretty good. I think it's pretty good. I don't know who we are. Now, most of the people that I've served this to really like it. And it's a nice combination of the peppers and the onions with the pineapple. Really sets it off. So I hope you try some of the ideas I told you or I mentioned. Remember wooden spoons when you can. That's very, very important. And so this is Bette Banjack for Look Who's Cooking. We'll see you soon. Bye now.